All hail the New York Giants!
Yeah, this is a big one.
My camera. How about them Giants? How about them Giants? How about them Giants?
Bam! What's up, people? Welcome to another episode of Giants Rush, where we talk Giants football 50 weeks of the year. I am your host, in case you're not familiar with what I call myself, King Rush, because and by the way, Zach, tell him about being what the good things are about being King Rush.
It's good to be the king.
See, it is good to be the king. So we're going to rifle through a couple things today, but one important topic is this dang jersey number thing. I think we started talking about this 2 weeks ago during the draft show, if Phil Simms would cave and give in. And that thing just took on a life of its own. Now everybody's talking about it. And of course, 100 people beating up a gorilla. Like, it seems like it's either we're talking about gorillas and 100 guys getting their ass kicked, and jerseys, who's wearing what. So we're going to get into that. And we're going to talk a little bit about Dart. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the stuff I saw about Gronk and Edelman, what they said about Lawrence Taylor and him potentially giving up the number. So we're going to talk about that. And we'll take a lot of your questions. Just see if you guys are piling in the room here. You guys are coming in. Don't want to give that one away yet. Yo, Cold, what's up? Glad to see you guys here. Hope you guys are doing well on this Cinco de Mayo. Let's bring in Zach. Let's bring in Joker Man, because he's got all this new audio and he wants you to hear how good he sounds.
Miss the fireworks.
There won't be any fireworks.
And here we go.
Boom.
What?
There he is.
What's going on? What's going on?
You sound crystal clear, my friend.
I appreciate it. I learned something new. So, trying to be professional here, my man. Upping it up.
I love it.
Quality
I
here.
love it. Yep. You gotta up your game. And to prove we're upping our game, we're going to be on Friday night with Carl and his band of misfits. I mean that in a positive way, of course.
Of course.
Everybody tuning in on Friday. Carl's been kind enough to ask everyone that he associates with to jump in and rewatch the Colts Giants game from last year and kind of dissect how we got here.
Right.
So that's going to be fun. So I think Sean and I are going to do that. We're going to bring in Chris right now and see if he's going to join us on Friday. But if not, Rush will be represented on Friday. Hope to see you guys there. Let's bring in Chris. You have the longest intro.
It
ever.
does.
That was a lot there, a lot going on. Yeah, I remember that. I
love it. Yeah, there's quads running into things.
Yeah,
beer bash. There's all sorts
chaos,
of stuff.
man. Chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's up, Elo?
By the way, Chris, I was there live for that beer bash.
Really?
Because it was at the
Florida?
at the time it was the Times Union Center, I think. So it was in Albany. It was DeCrescenti distributing. That was the beer truck that came in. So yeah, I was there live for that. It was it was Monday Night Raw.
Awesome.
I was never a huge wrestling dude, like at least the newer generation, but I remember being in college. I honestly, pure mayhem for Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah.
Jacking up Hulk Hogan over his head. We were like, what is happening right now? Like,
Craig, you were into more of the backyard wrestling. Yeah. Right, Sean? Backyard wrestling, no holds barred. Bats with wires on them,
like
jumping
the Mick
off
Foley
sheds.
style in the backyard, jumping off roofs,
sheds.
right? Yeah. That's Dude Love right there. That was Dude Love, right?
Yeah.
Mick Foley's character, Dude Love.
Yeah, I was Jackass before there was a TV show.
What do you mean was?
yeah, that too. Funny thing, note, speaking of wrestling, is my high school. Chris, I think, knows this story, but my high school offensive line coach and my homeroom teacher was a WWF wrestler. He was one of the masked executioners. First guys to ever wear masks. And he would take offense if you told him it was fake. And he would come in with his boots and his mask, and he would pop in VHS tapes for us to watch his wrestling. His name was Jerry Fazio. Cool dude. When I think about it now. But yeah, really cool stuff. All right, gentlemen, let's talk a little Giants football.
Yeah, let's do it.
Last 2 weeks, a lot of stuff going on. Great draft. Guys are coming into town. Rookie mini camp. We'll talk about that. But guys, the biggest the topic in Giants world, because there's not a lot going on. So we're finding things to bitch at. We're finding stuff to complain about, right? It is a really good intro, Cole. So the topic right now, and Chris, I'll start off with you. We started off our draft show, right, with would Sims cave and give the 11, right? And what's transpired, Chris, is Carter reaching out via, I don't know whether it was a text or a phone call or whatever, to Lawrence Taylor to ask him if he could wear the 56, which set off a fire of, fire and brimstone falling from the sky. LT basically told him to pound sand. So what I'm going to do is the Giants have, by the way, this whole misnomer that there's no numbers left. There are only 13 retired numbers. Okay. There are plenty of numbers out there to be worn. So everybody's saying you got to unretire these numbers. You're going to run out. Well, last I checked, there were 100 numbers. 99 of them you can wear. There are only 13 that are retired. Okay. So let's not be overly dramatic that the numbers, they're running out. Gentlemen, the numbers, they're running out. Correct. We need to do something. Like,
overly dramatic and Giants Twitter fans go hand in hand, my man.
And there may be a solution to that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's getting old.
Yeah.
So
plus
what we're going to do.
Double zeros out there too.
Yep.
You can, right? Because what was it, Jim Otto back in the day? Or
maybe after 50 years, they do something maybe like a reissue. After 50 years, that number can be used for a certain period of time, something like that.
Well, let's make this fun because Colt says the drama is getting old. So let's just do it. We're going to say it's this segment's called Back to the Rack. Now, Zach, I didn't make a banner for that. You're more than welcome to do that. But this is called Back to the Rack. I'm going to read you off a player, Giants history, what number they wore. I'll give you a couple stats on them, right? Because a lot of these guys are old timers, right? So just going to start off at the top. It's number 1. It's Ray Flaherty. Ray Flaherty played in the championship in 34. Malik Neighbors is now wearing the number. It was unretired, right? Interesting enough. So Flaherty is famous for basically leading the league in like almost every category when he played. He led the league in receptions, touchdowns, interceptions, yards per game. Okay. So when it comes to his era, guy was a stud. Right. What's interesting about Flaherty, the first ever number retired by a pro football team was the New York Giants retiring Ray Flaherty. So, in case a lot of people didn't know that. So going to hand it to you, gentlemen. He only played 5 seasons. That's the rub. 5 seasons as a Giant. Chris, it is unretired right now, so maybe it's irrelevant, but technically still retired. I'm sure if Malik decides to, retire a Giant in 10 years, 12 years, whatever it is, that number will go back to being retired. So let's just start there, Chris. Are we churning this back to the rack? Are we putting this back out in for everybody, or is this a one-off for Malik?
No, I think you go back to the family possibly, but I think more importantly, it's brought, Flaherty played so many years ago. So many Giant fans, we didn't even weren't aware of what that history was with him. It brought him up to the forefront, right? I mean, by that whole numbers situation, everybody learned about Flaherty. So my idea was maybe when a player, other than LT, if a player's played more than 50 years, you can maybe reissue that number for a certain period of time. It almost brings back the lineage of that player to learn about them as well, because it's these older players, a lot of younger people, including myself and someone, we don't know the detailed history. So I don't know what to do after Malik Neighbors is done with one, but I will say by him using the one, being that Flaherty was such an older player back in the beginning of the Giants, it really put the spotlight on him, which he really probably never had with so many Giant fans out there.
Okay. How about you, Sean? Is this something that you want to see, remains retired, or do we put it on the rack where anybody can wear it?
I say put it back, and the hope is that Malik can have it re-retired. If you guys, I don't want to spoil it. You may bring this number up later, so I'll save that. But the hope is that Malik gets it re-retired. But yeah, I'd like to see it go back. I think I'm old school, so I do like the tradition of keeping numbers retired unless there's permission from the family.
I mean, technically, it is still retired. He just got permission, so you can't really, just start circulating it again.
Yes, correct. Yeah. It's just for him.
Yep.
All right. Next one up is number 4, which is Tuffy Lehman's. Okay. He is in the Hall of Fame, inducted in 1978. 3,100 yards rushing, 2,300 yards passing. He had a season of 830 yards rushing one season. Number 4, Tuffy Lehman's. Sean, do we turn it to the, and by the way, let me define back to the rack means anybody can get it, right?
Yeah.
It's like putting the coat back on the rack and somebody else can buy it. So number 4, Tuffy Lehman's, do we return it back to the rack or do we leave it retired?
Leave it retired. I mean, he's in the Hall of Fame. He's got the numbers for his era that when you have both passing and rushing right there. Yeah, I'm good. Leave it retired. Like I said, I have a different view than I think a lot of people. So yeah, leave it retired.
How about you, Chris?
Yeah, I agree. We got to leave it retired.
So on the Ray Flaherty thing, I think I'm open because the family gave it up. So like that leaves it really basically to Malik Neighbors to wear, and then after that it would go back to retire. Tuffy Lehman's feels to me, like that would be a good candidate, but he is in the Hall of Fame. I don't know if you let, that kind of changes my perspective a little bit. All right, next number is Mel Hein, number 7. He played 15 seasons with the Giants. The only players that have ever played 15 years with the Giants are Sims and Strahan. Eli played 16 years. So, so he had a phenomenal run, and he's got some pretty cool stats too. He was all NFL 8 years in a row. Okay. Then he was the MVP in 1938, Hall of Fame in 63, war number 7. Chris, start off with you. Mel Hein, return it to the rack, or do we leave it retired?
No, I think you leave it retired because he's in the Hall of Fame. Once again, if there was a number 7 that was requested and it was able to be agreed, upon for a certain period of time, then maybe. But I don't think you just start pulling these numbers and circulating them.
Okay. How about you, Sean?
Yeah, agreed. Like, not to be a broken record, but I mean, Hall of Fame, however many, like all player of like 8 years in a row, like that's impressive, right? Like he's done some things. So yeah, absolutely. Leave it retired.
All right. I like it.
Do you agree?
I'm sorry. Yes. Yes.
You agree?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Hall of Fame to me just says, like, regardless of what we think, he was voted into the Hall of Fame. Now, maybe it wasn't as strict back then or whatever. Doesn't matter. So if he's a Hall of Fame player, I'm not pulling it out. I'm not pulling Jackie Robinson's number out of, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not doing certain things. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm not pulling Hall of Fame, game changers, whatever you want to call it. Right. I'm just not doing that. Okay. The next two don't even need to be talked about, but we will talk about one of them. Eli Manning, we're not even discussing it. We all get it. There's no reason that, unless you guys feel different, I don't think 10 should ever be worn again. Right?
Yeah,
No.
Right. I didn't even write down. Everybody knows who Eli is pretty much. We're not even going to talk about that one. So that's 10. Okay, Phil Simms, for some of you younger cats listening in the pod, I mean, he is the second best quarterback in NFL, or New York Giants history. Still leads. Eli Manning owns pretty much all the passing records there are for the Giants, except for a small handful. Passing attempts is still Simms. Completions is still Simms. But the actual records, most of them are Eli. He was 6-4 in the playoffs. He was, of course, what made Phil Simms a household name was he went 22 of 25 in the Super Bowl. And he was, of course, not only Super Bowl MVP, but the first player to ever say, I'm going to Disney World.
Yes.
So, and Simms was a tough guy. Nobody liked him, as a first-round draft pick out of Morehead State. But after he got over that little bit of an injury bug that he had early on, I mean, the guy just crushed it. Yards, touchdowns, completions, pass attempts. It took 20 years to go by for Eli to come and break most of those records. But so Simms is retired. Sean, start with you. Any thoughts on Simms?
Yeah, well, let me say first, like the records he still holds is impressive because he did those numbers in an era that was predominantly running first. So that's even more impressive. So anybody who isn't that familiar should understand that point. My feeling is this, that the one thing about it is that he's not in the Hall of Fame, although I think he should be. I think that's a case where if it shouldn't go to the rack, but somebody can wear it if it's the right person. So that's what I'll say about that. Like if the family grants, like the Ray Flaherty case, right? It can't just be any person wearing number 11, but if it's a difference maker, if it's a, however, like superstar, then if they request it and the family says, okay, then I'm good with that because you got to honor Phil Simms by wearing that number. It just can't be, anybody wearing number 11. You know what I mean?
And I would assume you wouldn't that anyone requesting it is somebody. You know what I mean? Like so.
That's what I'm saying. Back to the rack. Like not anybody can wear it. It's got to be a request and permission granted.
Chris.
Yeah, I agree. It's got to be permission granted by the player. And obviously Simms was okay with it. And then the family kind of changed it. Changed gears on that, which is fine. So I think it's really up to the player. Phil Simms. He took the Giants out of the dark ages, which we appreciate that. He's not in the Hall of Fame, one of the Giant greats. But once again, it's his number, if he approves it and is fine with it, then let it go.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, he is definitely a borderline Hall of Famer, right? If he had a couple more seasons, like he started off a little bit rough because he had the knee, and then he had the thumb where he hit the helmet on a follow through on a pass and split his hand open. Like I think Simms needed probably another 2 years, and he probably would have, especially the way he was projecting, right?
Right.
Yeah. If he doesn't get hurt and win that Super Bowl, right? If he wins,
if he wins that, I was just going to say that if he doesn't get hurt 90 and he wins the Super Bowl, I'm sure he's in.
Yeah. I think Simms was Simms is a confident guy. He came from nowhere. He could some people consider him cocky, at least in the public eye. Guy's a good dude. Stayed in New Jersey, still lives there, the whole thing, his family. I think he was trying to be polite. And considerate of the Giants' history and not being too egotistical. I think he was trying to do all the right things. And then he needed his family to tell him, you really earned that. Of all the things you went through, the booing, get rid of this guy, he's a bum. He's not a first-round draft pick, like all those early years things when, they were hating on him, calling for Scott Bruner, all that crazy stuff. I think his family had to say, look, it's just something that you earned. You're not in the Hall of Fame, but you earned a jersey retirement. And I'm glad it's still going to stay retired. That's one of those short lists for me. Next one is number 14, which is Y.A. Tittle. Y.A. Tittle was played on two teams, 49ers, Giants, good for both teams. He threw 33 touchdowns in 1 year. He was a player of the year believe it or not, player of the year in 57, 61, and 63. It's hard to believe at such an older gentleman would be that good, right? Because, he had played a bunch of years for San Francisco before he got to the Giants. He made 6 Pro Bowls, and he was elected to the Hall of Fame in 71. The odd thing about Y.A. Tittle, him wearing 14, it was also worn by another guy. So it's like, there are 2 guys that wore 14. So thoughts on this, Sean, on Y.A. Tittle? By the way, I know how good he was, because you don't win Player of the Year 3 times. Yeah. I never even, and the Hall of Fame is like the deciding factor, but because he played on 2 teams, it kind of spoils it for me a little bit.
Yeah. So because it was already unretired once and then re-retired for him, so it's basically been retired twice for 2 different people. Leave it retired. Leave it alone.
Okay, Chris.
Yeah, I would say leave it retired. He's in the Hall of Fame, and unless once leave it retired. I don't think you can.
All right,
I pick it up. Yeah.
All right, Gifford, number 16. I mean, honestly, like, regardless, most of us here, I don't know who's listening or who's going to download this on Spotify or something, but most of us have never seen Frank Gifford play. We've seen him announce, right, in the booth when we were probably little, or depending on how old you are. I mean, Cole's like 100 years old, right? Cole, you still out there? So Gifford was voted into the Hall of Fame in 77. They say he's one of the most versatile backs in the NFL history. Okay.
Yeah.
He had he almost had 10,000. He was at 9,800 all-purpose yards. He made the Pro Bowl as a defensive back. Okay, that's how good he was, because he played both sides of the ball. Yep. He still holds the Giants TD record for 78 touchdowns all time. 7 Pro Bowls. Won all NFL 4 times, and Player of the Year in 56. I mean, you can't really ask much more of a guy, Cold. That's messed up. I'm assuming we're not even really going to have to talk about this. Like, you're never unretiring Gifford's number, right, guys?
Right. No. Right.
All right. I just want to make sure, because I can't even see it. Now, this is where it gets interesting for me. And I'm probably going to sound like a really terrible person when I say this. But Al Blazis was killed in World War II. The Giants retired his number. He was a nice player. Yeah. But he wore number 32. I'm not sure that's the appropriate move for this. To me, it could be a statue, right? For his commitment. I think he died 6 weeks into his service. I'd love, a memorial, a statue, a plaque, something kind of cool that everybody could kind of see, right? I don't think the jersey is it, because he was more than a Giant. He gave his life up for this country, fighting in World War II. I'd rather see something like a little bit different. I know. What's that?
I think he only played 23 career games.
Yeah.
Not a long time.
Yeah. So I'd like to see the Giants unretire 32, but give him a statue, give him a plaque, give him a war memorial, give him something cool so you can look up the man. As you just said, I mean, 20 something games. He was barely a Giant, right? You're talking about, you're talking 2 years, right? So for me, though, I would never diminish what he did. I think they could return 32 to the rack, but go above and beyond it and give him a statue, give him some kind of cool war memorial, so you can maybe get to know the player as a person and and as a hero.
Yeah, and here's an idea for you guys. These numbers that you want to bring back, I think what would be a nice touch, maybe not game 1, but either the last home preseason game or maybe even Fan Fest, you have that family present the jersey to that player that's going to be wearing that number, which could be really cool.
That's good. Yeah, that's really well thought out. That's like you're definitely trying to show us up today, Chris.
No, man, that just hit me.
Well, here's another.
How could we recognize and bring attention to that family and that player? Make it a little more fanfare rather than just the player running out of tunnel with that number on.
Yeah, because that's why I was saying. That's why my point is 32. Let somebody wear 32, but no one could take away a statue, right? about,
Right.
you know, him and his uniform or just something. I don't know. I just think like show more about the man because
Right.
really like I get it, but no, like you just said, Chris, people don't know who he was,
Yeah.
right?
How about
But
the history of the player on the big screen, right? Before the game, just doing like
Yeah.
a 10-minute
Well,
montage of just everything about that person.
or whoever's going to wear the number, put a patch on there like they did with Spider Lockhart.
That's
And it's a
exactly right.
permanent patch.
Yeah. So
Like,
32 is
do I
one.
mean do the statue as well, but also add the
That's right.
patch to the jersey. So every game, every time who's wearing
Yep.
that jersey, they see that like,
Yep.
you know,
And
who the
Sean,
person is.
yeah, and Sean and Craig, how many non-Giant fans that are going to be watching games are going to see a name that they don't even recognize? They're going to go right to the internet to see what this player is and what they did.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. I mean, learning
Listen.
that history I think it's so important. So I agree.
I got to look up this name real fast for you because so I was watching all the 100-year stuff last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at these photos of my coworker, right? In our Slack channel, I'm looking at all these photos, and she's at the 100-year celebration. It's my coworker. Now she's out on the West Coast, and her grandfather was, wait, I got to make sure I pronounce it right. Her grandfather was, hang on, I'm pulling it up. Weinmeister? Weinmeister. Weinmeister.
Yeah.
He's in the Hall of Fame.
Wow.
He played for the Giants. So
It's a
like
name I
right
haven't even
away,
heard.
to Chris's point, I went and looked him up. I'm like, oh my God, my coworker's grandfather,
That's
played
awesome.
for the Giants and had his number retired. I mean, I was in a whole, all really cool stuff. So, but I am returning 32 to the rack.
Yep.
Again, the footnote is giving him something. Yeah,
Statue and a patch.
Yeah. All right, number 40 was Joe Morrison. He played 14 years for the Giants. He played 6 different positions, which is pretty cool. He has the 3rd highest receptions for the Giants with 395. Again, this one feels a little different than the other ones do. I'll start off with you, Chris. What's your thought on number 40, Joe Morrison?
Yeah, once again, I would just leave it on the retired and not in circulation unless, I don't know, the family, once again, I'm going back to the family and how they feel about it, unless it's, obviously LT, which I don't, Giants wouldn't give that up. That's a whole nother thing. But yeah, I think you just leave it retired. I mean,
that one doesn't like really work for me very much
Okay.
either. I'd probably return that one back to the rack too. But again,
what year was it? Joe Morrison was what years?
Is he Hall of Fame? He's not Hall of Fame, right?
No. He played 14 years with the Giants. He wore
That's a
number
long time.
40.
Yeah. What years? Joe Morrison was back in the
60s and
60s,
70s.
60s, I think, right?
Let me look it up. What about you, Sean? What's your thought?
I mean, that's one I think I'll leave up
14
to the
years.
family, but
Yeah.
it'd be cool. Who could wear it? Scattaboo.
Yeah. All right.
Because he was
I got it
4 in
right.
college, right? Add that 0 to it.
Might have been 70s.
1959 through 1972.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Maybe some of these players, once again, if it's over 50 years, you can recirculate it. And then you put
But that's the
patch on.
thing. But that's the thing, Chris.
Yeah.
I'm not recirculating Flaherty or Lehman's or Heim. I'm not recirculating.
Right. Some of them you want. If they're Hall of Famers, then you don't. But some of these other
Yeah.
players that aren't Hall of Famers, maybe you can make an exception to recirculate them.
Well, remember, there are only, which we laughed about a minute ago,
13,
there's only
yeah.
13 numbers that
Right.
are retired. Half these
yeah, it's
numbers
not
are
a lot. Yeah.
Not a lot.
It's not a lot of numbers that people are making a big deal out of it, but
Right.
it's worth looking at. Like I said, so, all right, we got
It's only a big deal because Abdul Carter wanted 11. That's really it. It's not been an issue before. Flaherty wasn't even an issue because Malik didn't ask for that number. They wanted Malik to have that number because he wore 8. So that was like a whole process to honor Flaherty, to show what Malik was. So, like, again, people are making a big deal out of something that's not an issue until Abdul Carter came up. Like 13 numbers is not a lot of numbers.
Yeah. All right. The next one is Charlie Connerly, war number 42. They said he's the most deserving of the Hall of Fame guys that aren't in there. He won a championship in 56. He was the NFL Rookie of the Year in 48. He won the league MVP in 59, 2 Pro Bowls. He's was third in attempts, fourth in completions, and believe it or not, he had 100. Ready for this? 100. This number can't be right. It just can't be. I'm looking at it again.
Yeah, it's probably right. Because
he had 167 interceptions.
Yeah.
I mean, that's absurd.
It is. Wow.
So Charlie Connolly, Chris, number 42.
I think you leave it retired unless
not in the Hall of Fame.
Not in the ham. But let me, once again, like you said, you only have 13 numbers. It's 42 is a weird number. Unless you have a number 1 draft pick. That was 42 that really wants it. A Malik Neighbors type situation. I don't know if it'll ever become an issue, to be honest with you. I would think leave it retired. He is iconic with the Giants, though. Charlie Connolly for the old timers is iconic.
And he went to Ole Miss. Go ahead, Sean. What you thought?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it could be another situation if somebody requests it. It's up to the family, but I wouldn't re-rack it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Connolly is. I mean, he's arguably, could be the top quarterback in Giants history. To be honest with you, so.
Yeah, I can't put him over Eli and Sims, but I get what you're saying.
I said arguably.
And back at Yankee Stadium.
That's why I said arguably.
And back in the 50s, they loved him so much they did have a Charlie Connolly Day. They did honor him a few times back at Yankee Stadium. So he is a beloved old timer.
All right, last three are pretty easy. Like Ken Strong is number 50, right? Definitely could use 50 back.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because of the linebacker thing. But the interesting thing is that like linebackers can wear 40s now, or they can wear single digit numbers now, or zeros, right? So I don't see it being a big deal, but like definitely, like I said, like Strong was a great player, played all these positions. You even punted, like I could see that one that I would return to the rack, because it's got that 50-year mark that Chris said, and then put a patch on it, like
non-Hall of Fame too, right?
Non-Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame, no Hall of Fame in 67.
He was.
67. Oh, then no. I'll leave it.
So like these guys that make the Hall of Fame, I can't unretire their numbers, right?
Yeah.
Especially now that the linebackers can wear other numbers.
Yep.
When 15 years ago, when you couldn't wear another number, you were kind of like, they went from 50s to 90s, and that's what you had.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And of course, the last two, we're not even debating that, which is LT and Strahan. Segue, guys, is so they asked Gronkowski. He does a podcast and with Edelman, and so Gronk gets on and he says, "Are you freaking serious that Carter has the balls to ask Lawrence Taylor for 56?" And Gronk was like, "Get the bleep out of here," right? Mm-hmm. And Edelman says, nobody should. They were happy that LT told them, no, and to go get your own number, make your own legacy, which is where we all come from. But Edelman had this point that like Gronk was making a comment on like, oh, these players, and Edelman's like, it's the football. The quote was, "It's the football galaxy." He's like, the fact that these guys think that they should ask for that, can ask for that. It's not in homage. It's not. These guys don't even know what these guys did.
Right.
Like,
and that, yeah.
Like, can you imagine somebody asking for Jackie Robinson's number? Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like kind of like painting a picture that, defends your narrative. Like there's no, like, I hope Abdul Carter is the closest thing to Lawrence Taylor there ever was. You just don't do it.
But in his defense, he wasn't around to see LT play. All he's seen is highlights and clips. He wasn't there for the transformation of LT out of college, training camp with the number 98, then transformed. He wasn't there living it, breathing it as a fan.
What does that matter? We didn't see Jackie Robinson play.
But he also broke the color barrier, so that's a whole nother story.
Yeah,
right?
that's a little
different. But listen, what you want to say? David Wells walking out with Babe Ruth's hat, was that disrespectful that he wore his baseball hat on the mound?
That's different. That's different.
How about if Abdul Carter? If Abdul Carter came out with LT's helmet, would that be all right? He wore that.
Yeah, that would be okay.
But good.
No, go ahead, Chris. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I just feel like his age has a lot to do with it, man. He didn't live, eat it, and breathe it like we did as fans, and it's not as appreciated like we are because the Giants he helped take the Giants out of the dark days.
Sam, I'm a little different. I do think he was paying homage to Lawrence Taylor. I think he gets the significance
with the picture,
of that
right,
number.
Sean? When he put the picture,
as much as I appreciate what Gronk and Edelman doing and respecting LT, I love that, right? However, Carter absolutely was paying homage. He understands the significance of LT, what he did. Like he said, he gets it. And I do believe him. Like I think it was an honor to ask. And the worst he could say was no. Like I don't have an issue with him asking at all. I have zero issue with asking.
I told you, Craig, and I know there's been other numbers
the reason
going around.
Why.
Yeah. And I know Sean and Craig, I might have mentioned this, but listen, my feeling, he'd take 55. And the easy answer for him is why 55? I'm one number away from greatness. You're right next to LT.
Well, I also 98 is a good one because it's LT's college number.
Great one, yes.
And Armstead wore it too. So that's not a bad
Sean,
one to go.
LT did wear it in training camp, right? Until I believe he wore it in camp, right? So he did wear it as a Giant for a short time.
I mean, here's the thing: like we want players who understand the history of the Giants. We actually have somebody now who does and appreciates it. And does that, and we got people hating on him. Like I can't.
I don't think anybody's hating on the.
No, they are. Trust me, there are people hating on him.
Those are just.
There's enough of them. There's enough of them, my man. There's enough of them.
Look, dude, they're complaining about everything. Like we're still complaining about Shador Sanders 3 weeks later. I mean,
let's not bring that up.
But LT is a top 5, maybe top. It could be 1, 2 in NFL.
I mean, you see all the LT stuff I got in here, and I don't have a problem with him asking LT. I would expect LT to say no, which is good, but I don't.
That's what he did, yeah.
And Abdul Carter is not just some player. Like, let's be realistic, right?
We don't know. We don't know.
I understand, but coming out of college, he wasn't just some player. He's not just anybody asking. Like he does have the potential.
He earned the right. He earned the right to ask. Well, right. I don't know.
The right to ask.
I look at
you dominate. Listen. When you dominate a game in college with one arm, you've earned the right that you're something special. Like again, he's not LT. Don't get me wrong. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. He's not LT. He's not in LT's category by any stretch of imagination, but he's not just some guy out of college.
No, this is where we differ.
Okay.
Because of everything you just said, he earned the right to be a first-round draft pick. That was his reward of getting a 5-year contract, getting the payday, getting the endorsement, and being that guy before he even plays a snap. All the great things he did in college earned him to be the 3rd pick in the draft, a 5-year contract, and all those endorsements. It doesn't allow you to almost project that you feel I'm in that category. Like you should not be going there because it doesn't need. You're opening a can of worms that doesn't need to be opened. It just doesn't. It's just. I don't know. Name a bunch of teams. Does anybody wear Walter Payton's number? Hell no. Like, does anybody wear? Is anybody going to wear Tom Brady's number? Hell no.
There's a reason why people don't ask for Payton's number, and it's again he's
what?
Well, the way he died. I mean, that's kind of rough. The way he went out, so I wouldn't ask it for that too. Taylor's at least still alive. Listen, I'm not saying he didn't ask it because he thought like I'm the next LT. Like he legit was honoring that number. I love the confidence that he has. Like that's what you want. Like that's what you want to see. Like that confidence, right? So I got zero issue with him asking. Right?
I'm with Mark. When Mark says you should know better, get your own number and make it great. Like that's just me.
Yeah,
and he will. Now he will.
Yeah. No, I'm super excited he's here, but I think all of it's dumb. Okay. I think all of it's just silly. Like, dude, like you don't want Sims's number, you don't want LT's number, you want your number. You want people buying your name on a back of number 55.
Wow. I mean, 11 makes sense. 11 makes sense. It's what he wore in college. There's a huge history and tradition behind the number 11. Again, zero issue with that too.
Yeah, I don't get that either because that's a college tradition at Penn State. It's not a Giants tradition, right? I mean, it's a number that's retired.
Micah Parsons wears 11 for the Cowboys. Same reason.
Well, who else wore
issue there?
Yeah, but who?
Danny White. Danny White would be
Danny White.
yeah, no big deal. No big deal.
Nice,
hey,
nice
LeVar Arrington.
Nice
LeVar Arrington won 55 with the Giants. So there you go. You got the Penn State connection right there.
Yeah. Again,
I'm
love
with
the confidence in the kid.
I'm with Cold and Mark. Just it's not something that you do. It's not a big deal. It's water under the bridge. But in the grand scheme of things, there's only 13 retired numbers. Everybody just needs to give it a rest. There's plenty of numbers out there to wear.
And real quick, to show you how great LT is, obviously, even LeVar Arrington out of Penn State, when he was in Washington, wore 56 because of LT. So just that linebacker, all these linebackers do recognize that.
Yeah.
I want to
what you do about nothing. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I want to read you a quick stat on our quarterback. In the quarterback class of 2025, see if this surprises you guys at all. In the quarterback class of this year, 2025, Jackson Dart ranked number 1 in target depth. Okay, 12 yards. He ranked number 1 in 20 plus air yards of 22%. He ranked number 1 in yards per average versus the blitz, which was 11.8, 12 yards. So the notion that he just chucked the ball deep and he wasn't very accurate, throwing for 11,970 yards. He was number 1 in on-target rate on throws 10 yards or more at 71%. So the notion that people are still complaining that we got Dart, they can't be football fans. They're definitely not college fans. And it's okay to say, you know what? I don't watch the SEC. It's fine. Right? Like,
I mean, it's the best conference in football.
Yes.
Regardless of what anybody says.
Yes. But it's okay to say, I don't know nothing about him. To be complaining. I saw a guy today, and I know, Sean, you're an Instagram guy, so you might have saw. Guy said today, how could you draft Dart after his game in Florida? I was like, you're going to judge a dude on one game?
Yeah.
So my question to you guys is, now that you've had 2 weeks under your belt, Chris, we'll start with you. Mm-hmm. Thoughts on Dart? What are you hearing? Are people excited? I know a lot of the young cats are excited because he's got a little drip, and he's feisty.
Got
some person, he
was at the Kentucky Derby with Wan'Dale Robinson, which like to see that. So that translates in the field, but I like the off the field because they're bonding, they're doing things, and that's good to see.
100%. So, Chris, give me your thoughts. Now you're 2 weeks in. You've heard the good, the bad, the ugly, and there's always ugly, right? Nothing's ever perfect. What's your thought on Dart right now? Like, where do you sit?
I think the fact that you got him at 25, not at 3, bodes well. You were able to come back in the first, so that gives you a little more padded room to for criticism, a little bit less because you took him later in the first. And I think the fact that Giant fans, and we all know that he's not going to be rushed into things, AKA the Jets, throwing all these quarterbacks, into the fire right away. You're going to let him soak it up. It's not just the practices, game day. How does he handle game day? They're going through the whole season, the rituals of a Sunday, of a Saturday. So let him soak all that up, the practices, the film room. And I think with the feistiness, right? The competitive nature. I think that was one of the keys with Dable. He sees a little bit of Josh Allen in him. I think the one thing he has to learn is maybe to slide more and to get down. He's going to learn that in the NFL like Daniel Jones did.
You heard he has never slid in a game ever.
Really?
And I was like,
did he play
ever?
Baseball? Does he know how to slide, or is he like Mark Sanchez? We got to bring in somebody to help him. Derek Jeter.
He was he could have played baseball in college.
Oh, so then he knows how to slide.
Yeah.
Because there has been quarterbacks that didn't know how to slide, right? They had to bring ex-baseball players in. Yeah. So man, I think this is this is going to be a less of a stressful transition for Giant fans because we can ease into this. There's no need to rush them in now. Giants aren't going to the Super Bowl, but hey, we want to win 7-8 games, right? Best case scenario, we have a good season, and next year, he fights for that job, or you roll him out next year, and you spot him this year, right? Games out of whack, games out of control. Either way, you get him some time, and preseason, play him against the 3s and 4s. Don't throw him right in there against 1s.
I would like to warn everyone ahead of time that is not acclimated with Buffalo Bills history. Just want to make sure that people understand that when they drafted Josh Allen, their game plan was to sit him for the year, maybe get him some spot duty, as Chris just mentioned. First game of the year, they were getting waxed by 4 touchdowns. They put him in at halftime, and he never came out again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So just painting that picture for you guys. I don't see that happening. I'm excited that Russ is here. I'm excited he's going to learn from Russ. What about you, Sean? What's your thoughts now that we're 2 weeks in?
So I got a couple thoughts. It'd be great. I'm fine with letting him sit for the year. I have a little higher expectations, Chris. Like I want playoffs or the chance for the playoffs, because then he can learn what the playoffs are like as well as sitting there. So I'm expecting a little bit more. But here's my other thing is that a lot of people say on Twitter that, well, he's coming from a one read offense, which is not true. Lane Kiffin just schemes to get the first read open, which when you think about it, it is very similar to what Daboll does. Daboll does a good job of scheming to get that first read open. He schemes to get guys open. So it is an easy transition, in my opinion, for Dart to fit in with Daboll. As I said before, he went through, it's nationally known what Daboll puts those college quarterbacks through in his interviews, and he aced. He aced it. He went through all of it, looked really good, did really well. I love the fire that he has. Like I said before, bringing back up who we talked about tonight, I think he's got the Phil Simms fire. I'm not saying he's Phil Simms. I'm saying he has that fire and passion. He's got the long blonde hair like Simms had coming out of college as well. So there's a lot of similarities there. But I do think with what Daboll does offensively, it is a good fit because he's used to that, looking for the first read to be open, and Daboll makes that happen. And he can hit the guy, and he'll make the throws. So he's just got to work on making better decisions at times. Like he'll throw the ball up there. It's kind of like Brett Favre-esque, where you're like, oh, don't do that, right? Like,
he's a gunslinger.
Which we don't need. I don't need any of that. Like as good as Brett Favre was, I would never want him on the Giants. So if he gets coached out of that, and it's like, hey, just make better decisions, then it's good. So I like the fact he's sitting for a year.
And I've said this, especially with you, Sean, since I'm on with you most of the time.
Yep.
Look, man, I'm a fan of him. I'm rooting for him, but I know he's got flaws. Like, I'm not that guy that's like, he's my guy. And then I go, I never said that. Like, I know he's got flaws, and I've said it numerous times. It's like, he's a pretty accurate thrower, and he's got good snap on the ball. He tries to throw a lot of tight windows when he shouldn't, and if he misses it, he comes right back for it again. He's got to be coached out of that. He's got to he's got to learn to live to play another day. You know what I mean? But the intangibles are the dude runs over linebackers and safeties. The guy is agile enough to jump over dudes. He definitely can pull it down and run the RPO and go. He has a deep ball. He's accurate. You just have to coach out of him, that, hey, it's not open. I'm fitting it in there anyway. Right?
Yeah, and Craig, I don't know if you want him hurdling and running with linebackers either. He's got to get down.
Got to go away. I was painting the picture of he's an athlete.
That's great that he's got that intensity, but I think he's got to just get down.
He's an athlete with some attitude.
Right.
Like the lazy narrative of him being like Zach Wilson is just okay. Yeah. I said this to Sean last week. I'm like, just because you grow up in the same state as someone doesn't mean you're like them. I mean, it's so weak. Like, okay, they're both from Utah. They're polar opposites of each other.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, Zach Wilson's never jumped over a linebacker and ran over a safety in his life. So
and Zach Wilson dates moms. I'm pretty sure Jackson Dart doesn't. So
yeah. Then they're both good-looking dudes, but I don't know who
they're dating. That's about it.
I don't know, don't care. But all right, let's shift a little gears. I just wanted to see what you guys.
Chris got it. Chris knew what I was talking about.
Zach Wilson wants to date moms, and then other people want to date Jackson Dart's mom.
Right.
Yeah, Zach
Yeah.
Wilson, and they're young, man. I know where you're going. I know where you're going,
Yeah.
Sean. I got you. Trying to keep it PG-13.
Yeah.
All right. Let's segue to wide receiver 2.
Oh, I can't wait.
Real easy question, Sean. Who is wide receiver 2 on the New York Giants?
Wan'Dale Robinson.
Chris, who is wide receiver number 2 on the New York Giants?
I was going to say Slayton, but let me ask Sean a question. Even if Wan'Dale's in the slot, you're going to call him the 2.
Yeah.
If you're not moving him around. Okay.
Yep.
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, maybe you're right. Boy, that's
Listen, I'm going to say I'm going to say why. And this is getting hatred. People are going to look at the stats and what the numbers are, but let's again look at the quarterbacks. Go back, and since Craig and I had to do this already, go back and watch the Colts game and look at what Wan'Dale Robinson did with a quarterback throwing the ball downfield, getting him places where he could use his skills, right?
Yeah.
Like Wan'Dale Robinson gets way too much hate. He's a much better receiver than people give him credit for. And a lot of why he did short was because of who our previous quarterback was. So,
and
listen,
Sean,
if I get proven wrong.
No,
Yeah,
go ahead, man. No,
I'll say if I get proven wrong about Wan'Dale, I'll own it. But that man is much, and again, he runs a 4.40. I think it was like 4.46, and he can run the deep routes. He just wasn't able to because we needed a safety blanket for you know who.
And I think it was CeeDee Lamb this weekend where they were talking about receivers in the NFC or NFL, and he specifically brought up Wan'Dale with his route running, his speed, getting in out of breaks. So yeah, I think around the NFL, around his peers, I think he's definitely appreciated.
Absolutely. There's a lot of NFL players that appreciate Wan'Dale and what he does. Again, he's like a running back playing receiver with the moves, the cuts. We just didn't have a quarterback that could lead him, get him open. Again, watch that Colts game, see how many deep routes he did, see what he did in the end zone. Like he's a really good route runner too. I know people like, oh, he only runs like 4 yards. Well, again, that was at certain times when he's had games of 100+ yards getting downfield. We just didn't. I'm telling you, like these receivers have been hamstrung by our quarterback play, and they were still doing things.
And
93 receptions is nothing to sneeze at. I don't care what his yards were.
Absolutely not.
Again, 93 receptions is 93 receptions. Like, let's not be like, oh, we had 93 receptions for 600 yards. I don't care. He still caught the ball 93 times, and he had to get open short because our quarterback couldn't throw the ball deep.
All right,
anywhere else.
We got it.
Well, that's what's going around Twitter right now. The Wan'Dale hate. Like, I'm sorry.
Well, listen,
it's too much. It's too much.
He had too many drops last year, and everybody got all crazy.
Yeah,
I agree. He's got to improve upon that again. But again, watch the Colts game. Watch what was the other game 2 years ago where he broke out, had 100+ yards. Like, watch what that kid has done, and don't tell me he's just a short yardage guy. He's not. Like Cole Beasley had a very successful career in this league, and I think he's better than Cole Beasley.
I mean, could Russell Wilson and Wan'Dale make this kind of like a Tyreek Hill type thing? I mean, because Tyreek and Wan'Dale, not saying the same level, but very similar.
Twitchy. He's not twitchy like that.
He is pretty twitchy, man.
Yeah, he is.
I'm
not saying he's Tyreek Hill, but he's definitely twitchy. And again, he runs a 4.46 40. Like, I don't know why people say he's only an underneath
straight line speed. That don't make him twitchy.
Watch him. Watch his route running.
I watch.
I think the combination of his route running and Russell Wilson wanting to throw downfield, unlike Daniel Jones pulling the trigger, I think it will open up things.
Well, you're going to see him run less shorter routes. There's no doubt in my mind he's going to run less shorter routes.
I mean,
let me segue here, gentlemen, because the reason why I asked you is that there are a lot of rumors that are starting to bubble about the Giants looking at Keenan Allen. And of course, Amari Cooper is out there. But the rumors over the last, let's say, 2 days have been that Keenan Allen could be a fit for the Giants. So wanted to get, and again, it's not me.
Who's starting those rumors, by the way? Are they legit sources, or is it Giants Twitter rumors?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both.
Yeah,
it's again, like just because it comes from Yahoo doesn't mean it's like a great source or like no. I mean, I'm not seeing it come from like I don't know who you're going to consider. It's not coming from Chris Carter. You know what I mean? It's not coming from Randy Moss. It's not coming from.
I mean, I think it's because he's tall and people want a tall receiver, but Daboll's offense doesn't need a tall receiver. And
again, though. Let's put that part. That's your hopes and your dreams, or what you think they need or they don't need. The question is Keenan Allen a good fit if he's available and they have the price? Is he good? Forget about like he's not better than Wan'Dale. Like I'm just talking about purely if Keenan Allen is available. Do you think he fits? Do you think he's worth bringing in? Because the top of the food chain is Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper, Nick Chubb. On the offensive side, we don't need Nick Chubb, but we could use a big-bodied, abled receiver, possession receiver. There's not one on the roster now. And, so my question to you, Sean, is Keenan Allen something? Forget about how much it costs. They're not going to overpay Keenan Allen. So my question is, do you think it's a fit? Would you want him?
I don't know. I mean, he didn't do much with the Bears with Caleb there. I know Caleb was a rookie or whatever, but I think his age and he's injured a lot. I would take Amari Cooper over because he can teach those young guys something. Like
That's
Amari
funny.
Cooper still is. Amari Cooper is still a productive receiver in this league. He doesn't get injured. I mean, he was doing stuff with the Browns. Like, let's be real. Like, with that quarterback situation. So I think he would be a better fit. But I know the call is out there for this big body, whatever receiver. No offense, Craig, but I don't think we need it. Daboll's offense doesn't need it. Like, we don't need tall guys. Like, we don't need a tall receiver just to say we have a tall receiver. It's not needed in this offense. But I would take Amari Cooper because he's still a hell of a route runner. He's still productive, and he's a guy that can mentor those young receivers, which I do think is needed.
It's funny because I was actually thinking the same thing. That's what I was going to parlay to was if I have a choice, I know like the rumors are Keenan Allen. I would take Amari Cooper over Keenan Allen pretty much any day. So I'm not really sure why they're linking Keenan Allen to the Giants. Could be just rumors and like that kind of stuff. How about you, Chris?
Yeah.
Any thoughts on Keenan Allen or Amari Cooper for that matter?
So keep in mind, Jordan Humphrey came over from Denver, played with Russell Wilson. He's on the roster. He's 6'5". He has a bunch of catches. Nothing crazy. Keenan Allen, I think, had 70 catches last year, 700 and something yards. So not bad. Pretty good production for 13 years. I do believe Amari Cooper ends up back in Dallas. That's where I think he ends up. So you got to carry 90 on a roster. Doesn't mean he makes the team. It's very similar to Allen Robinson, who the Giants brought in last year, and then they released him at the end of the preseason. Hey, if you have room, get him the vet minimum. He's not going to cost a lot. Why not? Injuries happen. Things open up on the roster. You never know. If you're going to carry 90, doesn't mean he makes the 53. Bring him in the camp, and you never know. Maybe you catch something in a bottle. Maybe he shines. Somebody else is a disappointment. But if you can afford him, and it's not guaranteed, because it's not guaranteed till week 1, you bring him in the camp if you have any interest. I think red zone, he could be, something interesting with the height.
Like,
so then who loses snaps if you bring in Keenan Allen?
Once again, Sean, you're bringing him in for camp, right? So you're going to be releasing and cutting guys. And listen, as much as we want to see these guys stay healthy, guys are going to get hurt. Guys are going to have ankles. Guys are going to go on PUP list. They're going to go. It's just going to happen. So, the luck of the numbers. You may need an extra receiver at some point, but let's see if he shows out. We always have that camp surprise. Wow, have you seen Keenan Allen? He's having a great camp, so you never know. My feeling is if you're going to carry 90 and you could afford them, why not? You got to have bodies.
Well, even if it's him or Amari Cooper, who's losing snaps? That's what I'm asking. Is it Slayton? I know Hyatt probably.
Losing snaps. They're not
running. Slayton? Is Slayton going to lose snaps?
But we're talking about preseason here, so I don't know how many snaps you're going to really lose if
what season though? You're not going to. Are you going to sign Amari Cooper? Or can't?
You're saying
if he makes the team.
If he makes the team, he becomes wide receiver 5-4, right? And you're using him in the end zone as an end zone threat or a package here or there, like maybe Malik needs a blow. Yeah, like
Keenan Allen would be happy with that, just being that
or don't play.
Listen, we're talking about Hyatt. We don't know what Hyatt's going to be right now. The definites are Slayton, Wandell, and Neighbors, but after that, the 4 we really don't have a definite 4.
Yeah,
we think we have a 4, but we really don't know.
And I know you say, Sean, that you don't need a tall receiver. That's not going to say some NFL team is going to ignore it and not get one, right? Like you can go with smaller, faster guys without a doubt, and that could be your bread and butter. But sometimes you need change of pace, right? So bring me a big-bodied guy to get me a hard-earned first down. You're only going to package him on like between 6 and 10 snaps a game if he's lucky. But if he grabs 2 balls a game and 2 first downs or a touchdown in the red zone, it's worth it. Because right now we don't have a tall receiver that can body up in the end zone unless you want to run 2 tight ends. And we don't do that well.
Then which they may. And then, that's what Chris said too. Little Jordan Humphrey could be a surprise because he's 6'5" and had a had a good.
That could be the spot where they battle. And guys, with the receivers,
Right.
man, these guys are going in the concussion protocol every week on every team. There's at least one receiver because of a hit, which they're not taking any chances, and they're going in the concussion protocol, which misses one game. So I just think, we always feel like we're grabbing guys off the practice squads at some point for receivers during the season.
Well, I mean, they signed like how many receivers this offseason? They signed a ton. Like, I don't know, but like again, Humphrey, they signed the guy from Arizona. Like it was a ton, and UDFAs as well. Was it right?
Remember the list I read you last week?
Right.
Last
so during
Chris,
free agency
about
and
6, 7, 8, 9. We got about 10 receivers right now.
Chris, I read the list of UDFAs last week when I started the show, and like Sean was like, "All right, when are you going to stop?" Okay, that's enough. Hey, the list there was like 13. I'm looking to see if I kept the list. 13 UDFA wide receivers.
Yeah, I got them right here. In fact,
Yeah.
All right.
And then how many free agent wide receivers? So before the draft, there was Humphrey. There was the guy from Arizona they signed. Wasn't there another?
Montreal Washington is one. Zach Pascal, who's with Arizona and also the Eagles.
There you go. Yep.
And they brought back Marset, who's more of a returner, but he's listed as a receiver as well. So they got.
Humphrey's going to be the interesting one.
Yeah,
he's a guy that I wouldn't count out.
Yeah. And him and Wilson, they have a little bit of history together, so there might be some chemistry there.
Listen, I'd be fine if they sign Keenan Allen. Fine. I mean, I would take Cooper over Keenan Allen.
I agree there.
Yeah.
But if they decide for Keenan Allen, okay, I'm fine. And if he takes away snaps from somebody else, I'm good with that too. If he can help those young guys. My biggest thing is whoever they bring in, if they're going to bring in the vet, I need him to be a mentor to those younger receivers because that's what's really needed. Right? That's really, and no offense, Slayton is not that mentor. He's not the guy to mentor.
You don't like him, but they like him enough to.
It's not that I don't like him. It's not that I don't like him. I think he's not what is needed for those younger receivers. Like I get he can do some things. Like I would rather have a Keenan Allen or Amari Cooper to mentor these young guys. I just don't trust his hands. I hope he proves me wrong this year. I don't trust his hands in key situations. It's been proven over and over again. I get he was good here and had production, but again, he was putting up production when there was really nobody else to put up production next to him. So
just keep.
I'm not hating on him. I'm not hating on him.
I know you want him to be more dog and have more catches, no drops, be more clutch. But whatever it is, it can't just be because he's cheap. Like they're bringing him back for something they like. He
knows the offense too. I mean, he's been in it now 3 years.
Yeah.
So that's part of it. He's a hard worker. He is well liked by his teammates. I'll give him that. He's a very supportive player to whoever that.
You've seen him. He goes to bat for all his guys.
Absolutely, which is great. And he's got great potential. Don't get me wrong. Like I think they can utilize him. And maybe Russell Wilson will make him better because he does throw a more catchable deep ball. So that could help him. But I think what you need to do with Slayton is I think you need to run him on slants. You need to run him where he's wide open and let him utilize that speed and catch and run.
It's funny because I think you're spot on. But the one thing that he cannot do is he can't take a laser on a quick slant. He doesn't have those kind of hands. He's a down the field, drop the ball into a bucket kind of guy. So like where Malik can take a rocket from Russ at 5 yards and catch it. If you ask Slayton to do a one-step inside slant move, and the ball is going to bounce right off his hands. He doesn't have.
Throw it in his stomach. He's a body catcher. Throw it in his stomach.
But Wan'Dale too, though, because Wan'Dale's a body catcher too. But I'm just saying, like, nobody did it better than Odell Beckham. You could shoot the ball out of a cannon on a one-step inside leverage slant. He's still catching it. Slayton is not that cat. You know what I mean? So, like, I know what you want him to be, but he's never going to be that.
Even if it's a quick in or whatever else. My biggest issue with Slayton is his hand placement is bad. He doesn't put his hands on the right spot to
dude.
the ball.
They're never like that.
Yeah, they're never.
Like that. No.
And he's 6 years in the league. At some point, you got to get better at that. That's my issue. But I also think, I think we're going to see a lot more of those slant and goes and more breakaways from neighbors this year too. So, especially with Wilson throwing them the ball.
All right, quick pit stop, guys. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel and you're out there, please subscribe to it. Do us a favor; it does help us dramatically if we can get you guys telling a friend and get out there and sub in. All subscription does is you hit the button and then it lets us know it lets you know when we're live or we put new content up there or we have new interviews. Like,
and it's free.
Yeah,
it's free to subscribe.
Yeah, just it's all it is it's basically it should be called, instead of subscribing, it should be alert, right? It's just alerting you to the new content that's there. You guys could do that. Make sure you're following the team, the Rush team. NYGiantsRush.com has all the draft profiles up if you want them. And the YouTube channel does have all the interviews. We have interviewed from Kurt Warner to Carl Banks, to Bellinger. McFadden's a regular with us. But we've had some guys like Kiwanuka and David Wilson and David Deal and Kevin Boss and Chase Blackburn. We've had some really good guys. So if you're not familiar with the YouTube interviews, please go check those out. Friday, as I mentioned, we'll be on with Carl Banks and a bunch of other content creators. I guess we're going to chew it up about the Colts game. I got to contribute this to Cold, because Cold brought something up about Gano, and I want to bring it up, guys. Gano is still on the team. There's no competition. He gets hurt a lot, and Tucker just got released. Do you guys feel like that Tucker's just a bad dude because he's being a pervert? Or like, is this the thing where, and it doesn't have to be Tucker. I know Tucker got released.
Hey, Craig, let me stop you right there. We know we're friends with Tucker's agent. You played football. We'll bring Rob in. Rob won't tell us much, but Rob Roche is Tucker's agent. He won't say much, but we could probably. We could definitely
do that. We could bring in Rob. I played college ball with Tucker, Justin Tucker's agent. Dude had great hands. He was a slot receiver, great hands.
You guys, speaking of height, you guys are the same height. You know that.
Way.
I'm short, so I get it. You guys are like the same height.
No way. I'm 5'10". He is not 5'10".
Were you 5'10"?
I am 5'10".
Man, I'm really short. I thought I was.
And by the way, don't start talking about my height, because then I got to listen to Crypto talk about my height for like 4 months.
Crypto? Yeah.
I don't know. He's off his.
You would listen with Craig's height. You would think he would like the short guys in the NFL on the Giants roster, but he hates on the short guys. He literally hates on the short guys.
He hates me.
Yeah, right. Like, see, I support the short guys, like vertically challenged guys. I support them. Scatterboo, Wandale Robinson.
Wait.
Like, let's be.
I have never in my life said I didn't like Scatterboo, and he's 5'9".
I know. I just meant he's another short guy.
Did you like Joe Morris?
Love Joe Morris.
All right,
here
we go.
Well, then.
See, like, we joke about it. It was the point was Wandale would have been there in the 3rd round, and you drafted a slot receiver.
We don't know that, though.
Yes,
there's
you
people
do.
saying that
Nobody
Jackson Dart would
that
have been
cat.
there. There's people saying Jackson Dart would have been there in the 2nd round. So how
different? He's a quarterback.
Right. He's different because it's Craig's boy.
It's not, dude. It's a slot receiver in the 2nd round from Kentucky. It was an overdraft.
SEC.
Overdraft. Now, have I eaten crow? Yes, I've eaten crow. Good. I mean, the guy's a great teammate. He's producing like hell. Felt bad that he got hurt that first year. And I root for him like I do any other player, without a doubt. You eat crow, you fall on the sword. So it is what it is. But so Tucker might not be the guy, but Cold has a point that Gano gets hurt a lot. Do you bring a guy in? Can Gano still hit a 55-yarder to win the game? Probably not. So, and again, I don't know anything about kickers. There's probably kickers everywhere. But, my question, Chris, do they need to bring in a kicker to compete against Gano? That was a compliment to Cold. It's a good question.
Well, they have the international player McEnany, but you know what? I don't know if you trust him. I mean, he played like 1 game last year, so I don't know about that. But I think maybe after that first week of veteran camp, you see how he looks, and then maybe you make a decision. Now, the other thing is Giants have under $2 million in salary cap space. You release Gano, I think they gain another $3.5 million. So they need $10 million to sign draft picks. So
but don't say those words, dude. Don't say those words. Remember 2 years ago we went to camp with no punt returner? Yeah, like if you say release Gano,
no, not now. But you have to find somebody. Obviously, somebody.
Yes. Because if you say something like that,
we'll be out there.
They'll release Gano, and we're going to go into the season with no kicker.
Didn't McEnany look pretty good?
How about Aldrick Rosas? You want him back? Yeah, you might. You want Aldrick Rosas?
Brandon McManus back? Isn't he available? McManus?
No, he got signed. He got picked up. Was it Green Bay? No, not Green Bay.
Did he?
Who did he go to?
I don't know.
Yeah, he got picked up in the playoffs.
I thought the rookie kicker. I thought McElhinney looked pretty good last year.
I think
actually.
he does. Do you trust him? That's
no.
Yeah, I mean, you
Yeah,
got
I
to
don't
give
know.
him a. I mean,
game on the
Right.
line though.
He
So
looked like
I
a
don't
deer in
know.
headlights. Cold, by the way, the only reason why they're not drafting a kicker because there's so many of them that are UDFAs.
Yeah.
Like, why waste a pick? Why pay the guy?
I'll
You
give
know,
you a name that Rob told me about. That hope he's not watching the show, but I don't have to. So,
Wait, all right, then just don't say his name.
No,
Just
no,
give
no.
him-
So there's a kicker. There's a kicker, University of Minnesota. If anything happens to Gano, then maybe there's a chance that this particular kicker who can kick like 60 yards. He was All-American 2 years ago. This past season he wasn't, but could be a guy that could go to camp if a spot opens.
UDFA.
Yeah, at a Minnesota. He's out
fine.
there. Yeah,
All
there,
right.
there was a good kicker. Cy had mentioned from Florida State. He was actually picked up. He was probably one of the best kickers out there. Unfortunately, he got picked up. But yeah, listen, Gano, right? The injuries. That's the question, man. Last couple
that's the
years.
biggest thing. The injuries. Yeah. And he's what? How old now? So
38, 39. So
yeah.
For you guys last week that won the Jason Sehorn poster, which was low, and the stretch won the bobblehead. I'm gonna try to get those out to you guys this week. I gotta find the appropriate box to put the bobblehead in so it doesn't break. So I gotta get.
don't you have Funko Pops in your house? Did you put a Funko Pop box?
Well, look. So look, it comes in the box,
Oh yeah.
but again, if something heavy was on it in shipping, it might snap it.
You got to bubble wrap it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I need to put it like bubble wrap and then in another box, right? Like so.
I got a great idea, Craig. Why don't you wrap a giant shirt, and then you get a little
A Rush shirt.
a Rush shirt wrapped up in there.
I don't know if I have any left. I'll have to look.
Well,
Oh,
for him, he's a tall dude. He's like 6'7", stretch.
okay.
So he need a
Yeah.
big shirt.
Yep.
What else can I tell you guys?
Minicamp this week.
Mini
rookie
camp this
minicamp.
week. Chris, what's your thoughts on mini camp?
Let's keep an eye on Abdul Carter. Everybody was talking about the foot and the shoulder. Let's see how much he's out there, which I anticipate, right? He's going to be out there a little bit, but let's see what the reports are, from the beat writers, how he's moving around. So that's the thing to keep.
By the way, I saw in the comments something about
Dart.
numbers before. I think Dart's going to wear 12. Somebody asked my opinion on what number he was going to wear.
That's in honor of Scott Bruner and Jarrell Jernigan.
Jarrell Jernigan. Right.
Remember when Maris said, play this guy? Remember the last game of the season? He got like 2 touchdowns. Like, this is why you got to play this guy. And that was the end of it. Never to be seen again.
It was done. Jarrell Jernigan.
So I got to give Shawnee some props here.
Another short guy, Craig.
We were
Another
both
short
right.
guy.
Jernigan, was he that
He's
short?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. What was out of Troy, I think, or some? He was out of some small school, if I remember correctly. I thought it was Troy.
Sonoris Moss was short.
Oh,
Yeah,
Captain Hamstrings.
Yeah. So also wearing number 12 was the hefty lefty. He wore 12 and 13. So I'm like, Sean, I think he wore 13. I'm like, yeah, he wore 13. Then I started looking at some older photos and he was wearing 12 and 13. So, but I think Dart's going to wear it. Somebody asked me about that.
Craig, Jarrell Jernigan, 5'9", 181. So there you go.
There we go.
Yeah, but Wandale's 5'4".
Oh, good Lord. Here we go.
Maybe in senior year in high school, but no.
All right, what's
I'll
Wandale?
eat crow if
5'7"?
if Wandale doesn't have a more productive year, I'll eat crow. I will say on air that I was wrong about Wandale, but as of right now, I think he's going to have a better year, and he's underappreciated.
Yeah, but
far.
you don't have to go there. I don't think anybody thinks he's bad. Like,
you'd be surprised. Listen, there's people talking about wanting to be cut, replaced on Twitter. Yeah,
they don't get it. Listen, I don't think he is as good as we thought he was going to be. I think he lost a little step, with the knee injury, but I still think he is productive and deserves to be a starter.
Watch the Colts game. See the move he did in the end zone to score that touchdown.
I mean, God, he had 93 catches with 4 different quarterbacks. Not bad.
And I get the yards weren't there, but look at the quarterbacks were. And the only game where a quarterback played like a quarterback was literally the Colts game.
Is Wandale Robinson your new Shador Sanders? Is that what you're gonna try?
Here's my thing. Like, I don't like when people hate on people who are actually good. Like, that's my thing is I fight for the people who should be fought for. Like, Wandale gets a lot of hate on Twitter because he's short and he only catches 4-yard things. I'm like, you're not watching the games. You don't see what he's doing. You don't see why he's doing that. You don't see the other things he's done. And again, you don't realize he runs a 4.46 40. Is he going to be a Hall of Famer? No, but he's really good. He's really good. You don't catch 93 balls without getting open. Like, I don't care if it's a 4-yard route. There's guys that can't get open with a 4-yard route. So he's getting open, right?
Like,
he's got separation. He's fast. He's just not tall.
Think about the year before and the year before that, like the go-to security blanket was Sterling Shepard. And we all loved Shep, and he did the same type of player. Shep believes Wandale step right in that role. You can't really, I mean, I don't think you can really, I mean, I thought he'd be a little bit more dynamic, but for what he does a lot of the dirty work, and
you're going to be dynamic when you got quarterbacks that can't get you the ball to make you be dynamic.
And Daniel Jones has been hurt too. He's been playing with a bunch of
has been washed up.
Let's see this year. Yeah.
And again, like five, I don't know. Wandale is a smaller dude, but those 5'9" guys are not overly small.
Yes, Cold. We're really spending time on Wandale. You'll be okay.
Yeah. All right. So mini camp next week. These guys are coming to town. They already got some stuff up on Giants.com. These guys in the weight room working out. Banks is cut off. He looks serious, right? He's cut off all his dreads.
And today was the first day of on-field OTAs, phase 2. Yep. So they were on the field today, which is good.
Yeah. I still think Banks should sell his jersey to Jackson Dart.
What, the 2?
Yeah.
Yeah. For the record, I looked it up too. Banks did wear 2 as a kid. So it's not like a stretch for him. Okay. So he did wear 2 as a kid. They had a bunch of pictures online that got sent out, all the boys in the gym working out, and hey, look, there's going to be somebody that doesn't make this team, but the minute, so this camp this week, Chris, is rookie camp, right?
This is rookie mini camp. Yep. 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yep.
Nice.
Sunday, they'll probably might not be much. They usually blow.
Chris, are we going to camp this year?
Yeah. This is the year to go. I mean, there's a lot of new faces, a lot of excitement. Absolutely. Yeah. Too bad.
We will do fantasy football again with Spartan Mike this year again. We're gonna raise the bar up, the price up a little bit, and we're gonna step up again. We're gonna try to do 2 leagues.
Here's an idea. Maybe we can arrange something where we do a live show from camp, and I can maybe fly up or something for camp, and we do a live rush show.
We've done them from the parking lot before. We got to use our own Wi-Fi, use the hot spot so we can do it. So we can do it from the parking lot, no doubt about it. We just need people, bodies. We need people that want to actually, hang out and do something. So we need entertainment. If we have some type of entertainment, like something else that's really cool, then people will hang out, and we could definitely do a live show from camp without a doubt. Fly up, set it up in the parking lot, get some games going, some cornhole, that kind of stuff, right? Mm-hmm. I thought Pew was going to try to help us out to get some kind of catered event going, but we can still work on that.
Mm-hmm. Something to think about and try to work, maybe. Who knows? Yeah.
All those things are good stuff. And again, anybody, the sponsors are always big, right? Brought to you by, we need to pull in a sponsor to help us do some cool stuff. So we got that. Still working on some interviews for you. Again, McFadden told me he was going to work on Bobby O, which would be a great interview. Bobby's been all over Instagram the last couple of days, if you haven't seen it. And it's going to be a fun year. So you guys can, stay tuned for more. NYGiantsRush.com, the YouTube channel. You can buy some Rush gear if you want on there. So somebody bought some gear yesterday, which was cool.
Nice.
Yeah. So I hope go see the Knicks, I think, are losing, in case anybody wants to know. And you guys are very, very quiet in the chat today. I guess because you guys are watching the Knicks. But we will see you guys next week. There is no Wednesday. Rush Hour is off. So there was no Wednesday show. Hopefully something happens good in Giants land this week. We can report from minicamp, talk some smack there, find out what we learned. Maybe we get a signing from Amari Cooper or Keenan Allen. Maybe there's a new kicker. But we can always bitch about Dart, and we can bitch about jersey numbers, if that's what we're
sure.
If that's all we got. All right, gentlemen, anything you want to say before I bolt?
Just be excited. Just be excited. Like, listen, if you're complaining at this point, you're a complainer. That's really all it is.
Yeah.
Like, there should be excitement right now. Like, there should really be nothing to complain about unless you're trying to find something. Now, again, everything's got to transfer on the field, but this is what the offseason is for.
Yeah.
The draft was really good. We got good players. There's some things that still can be improved, of course, but you should be excited at this point to see the potential. You're excited about the potential. Not, I think that's what's important to know.
Don't sleep on Russell Wilson. The guy wants to go out on top. He wants to have a good year. He wants to have fun. He wants to be here. Like, let's just not sleep on the dude. You don't have to like him. Just don't sleep on him, because I just got a feeling he's going to try to stay around for more than 1 year, guys. Whether you like me saying that or not, I think Russell Wilson's eyeing a 2-year contract. That's me personally thinking he's going to try to win 7-8 games this year. I'm sure he had a conversation about, hey, if I win 7-8 games, I'm coming back in 2026. I honestly think that's a conversation that was between Dable and Shane and Wilson to get him to sign here. So if Russ wins 7-8 games, don't be surprised that he doesn't come back and have to compete with Dart for the starting job.
Which is not a bad thing. You'd want to see competition to make it better. And he's going to have a lot more freedom here than he did. We already talked about it last week with Pittsburgh. He was hamstrung towards the end of the year. Yeah. Dable is not going to do that. So I think it could be a good fit. The only thing that would be interesting is Russ has a much different personality than Dable. So we'll see how that kind of goes. He's not as fiery, if that, you know what I'm saying?
Like he wanted to be here last year. I actually think that there's a little like mad scientist in both of them, right? Because Russ has seen a lot of stuff. So I'm happy. I am really happy Russ is here.
I am too.
So,
I am too.
And I think Neighbors,
Neighbors is for sure
excited for it. Yeah, tight end will be the thing they'll always.
Wandale's excited. A lot of these receivers are excited for what they have. Listen, they're not dumb. They know the quarterback room is upgraded. They're not dumb.
Yeah. So, all right, gentlemen, we are out. We'll see you guys next week. And actually Friday, guys, on the Believe It Network there with Carl Banks.
Spaces.
We are going to be hanging out with Banks and a whole bunch of other folks talking about in a Spaces, I guess, talking about the Colts game. It may be mayhem. It may be good entertainment. It may be really bad. I don't know, but I was just appreciative that Carl was like, yeah, let the Rush guys come in. And a couple other guys, I think he's invited, and we'll see what it is. I don't know what to expect.
With all the wrestling talk early on, it's like a battle royale with all these other content creators, right? It's it's like a battle royale.
He's bringing content creators in to talk football, what the offense could look like under Daboll next year with different quarterbacks now, and so.
Cool.
Yeah. So if you're hanging around, we're going to be talking about the Giants-Colts game last year in the 2024 season, and it's going to be absolute mayhem on Friday night at what time, gentlemen?
8 p.m.
8 p.m. Yeah, tune in. We will try to have a voice in the room. Who knows if that's going to be had or not? But I know Sean's going. I know I'm going. Chris, I don't know if you're going to pop in or not. But we will try to get some Giants Rush airtime with that zoo.
And Bob Papa is going to be there too. So Carl and Bob,
even better yet. And they're fun guys. So maybe something fun will come out of it. Zach, take me out, my man. We'll see you guys next week. Peace out.
Hey, Malik, what's the name of that book?
Just give me the damn ball.